All right, so I'm going to ask you something here in a little bit and I don't want it to be a curveball, but think about it as we go along. TV shows on HBO versus TV shows on Showtime. I don't like Showtime.
I got a perfect example.
Perfect. All right, so we'll get there because I got one I'm watching, and I just am like, do I even like this show? And I'm watching it, like, so we'll get
Yeah,
there. All right, all
that's
right,
what's keeping me from watching Yellow Jackets. It was supposed to be real good.
and like Dexter was on there, and everybody raves about Homeland, and I'm like, I just can't watch Showtime shows. I just can't do it.
I mean, I used to with Dexter. I
I was,
watched
I
all the
was,
seasons.
that was before my time, so that's
Yeah.
hadn't gotten there yet, but yeah. All right, you ready, man?
Let's do it to
All right. Welcome in everybody to the Can We Kick It podcast. I'm co-host Mike, along with Chuck here.
what's up, Mikey boy?
Not much, man. How's it going? You up in the Northeast, freezing, as I've heard.
Yeah, I'm up in the Northeast where they say the part of the country where they say warder,
Word or
a
oh god, yeah.
murder
Yeah.
up in east up in the Philly area.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had a Philly cheesesteak, so I mean when in Rome, you gotta eat as the Romans, you know?
when in Rome.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is nice little tasty cheesesteak for dinner.
Nice.
So, yeah, but no Yingling yet.
Yeah.
No you know, everybody else had a drink at dinner, but I had water, so
Yeah. That's classic us. We don't tend to skew to the alcohol.
not much. Not much.
So you
How
flew up
you
to
doing? How's Houston?
good, good. It's cold, finally. Getting used to that. Just replaced a hot water heater. Blow my brains out. Um, Going to Denver next week, so I'm really looking forward to freezing my ass off there.
Yeah, you can see some snow as well.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at the forecast, it may not snow all that much, but it's definitely going to be in the high 20s, but it may not be in that moisture. But looking forward to it. And gonna watch some hockey. You going to a Flyers game while you're up there?
No, the only Flyers game was tonight, and we had a team
Ah,
dinner thing. But I'm gonna try to go next week to Devils game when I'm
nice.
in Jersey. So they play at the Prudential Center. So I'm gonna try to make it over there. We'll see if I can make it happen.
That'd be good. And they're doing not terrible, if I'm not mistaken, for the Devils.
The Devils.
The Devils. You stole my Jesus fish, didn't you?
He stole
Oh
my
yeah,
Jesus. A
they're second in the Metro, so yeah, that could be a good one. Yeah,
little better than the Rangers.
yeah. Which they were beating the Stars tonight, but now it's 3-3. So they blew a three
Yeah,
one lead.
it's very Rangers of them.
Yeah, no bueno. But yeah, man, it's been good trying to catch up on TV. I don't. You flew to Philly's area, so I assume you watched Interstellar on the plane.
No, they don't have United took it off. So when Ashley and I went to Florida back in December, on the way there, Interstellar was on there, watched it. On the way back, they had changed up their whole offering.
Damn,
So this time, no, I just watched the rest of Squid Games and an episode,
nice,
the last recent episode of Silo.
nice. Well,
So
look. Interstellar is now on Netflix, so you could
I
download it
know.
for the flight. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I told my whole family about it. So I'm trying to make everybody that hasn't watched it watch it.
Yeah, people
So,
should start listening to us more. I don't know, like I just got Marcus into Tires on Netflix with Shane Gillis, and he's loving it. So,
well, that's what I try to tell people. If I'm not like, it's like we watch a ton of TV. If you're looking for a show, listen to us, even if it's outside of like what your genre you usually like, um, so we talk about some shows, we may not like them as much as we do, but there's um like if I'm recommending something personally, then I think that, if I know you, I think you would like it, even if it's outside of like your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some shows that I think are universal. Um, and then I mean, there's some real popular shows that most people like.
Yeah.
Um, but even the ones that are kind of different, I think, um, if they're well made and it's a good
Oh,
story, then
for sure.
um, most
Industry,
people would like it.
Succession.
Yeah.
I know
Well, I mean,
Succession's kind
even
of a
though,
slow burn for some people, but those are well-made shows.
and those are still popular shows, but like, even like for me, something like I always recommend Somebody Somewhere and Station 11, Mr. Robot, like
Oh
ones
yeah,
that may not be super mainstream or popular,
true.
but are well done. You can always default to a Taylor Sheridan show, which I've now watched two,
Getting you.
and
He's reeling you
fucking
in.
bonkers. I heard so, as we've talked about before, 1883 was awesome and one of my favorite. I mean, not favorite of all time, but just a generally good show.
It moved you.
I
It
heard
moved you.
I cried, yes. Um, but I heard 1923 with Helen Mirren and Harrison Ford is like the best one out of all of them. I'm like, oh
Crazy.
God, I gotta watch that.
Yeah.
So I would argue that maybe nothing in this world is better than Landman so far.
Landman is wild. I'm surprised.
Um,
Like I knowing that you're not a big Taylor Sheridan, but you got into 1883. I'm surprised you guys got into it, but I love the fact that you guys are like blown away by it because it's hilarious. The dialogue in that
yeah,
show is crazy.
Blanca's watching it. We're both, I think, before I left, we had finished through episode 5. I watched 6 on the plane. Or no, well, I was running on the treadmill here last night.
Nice.
So I'm on 7, and that's, I think, 9 is current. So
Yeah.
um I Billy Bob Thornton is best at, for me, Friday Night Lights, Bad Santa, and um um I was just thinking of something else. And then Fargo,
Yes.
first season, and then Landman.
Yeah.
When he plays like, especially just think Friday Night Lights, the movie, and Landman, a West Texas like dickhead, but he's just so natural when he just and then throw
When
Bad
he's
Santa in is
when
just
he's laying it out like how it really is, it's Billy Bob Thornton at his best. When he's just like, "Look, we're all getting fucked here, okay?" Like that's him at his best. Bad Santa, all of that stuff, dude. When he's just laying it out for real, and everybody else is just like, "Oh my God, did you really say that?" It's like, yeah, that's Billy Bob Thornton.
yeah, it's the performance is wild, and I, there's no greater spectacle on TV at this moment than Landman.
There's not. It's so great. Yeah, with him and Ellie Lauder and just all these people at John Hamm, which you're on 6, so I'm on episode 8. I'm on the
9
whatever
just
the
came out this week.
yeah, whatever this week's is, I'm on. And
Okay.
uh Demi Moore is in it, which I think she's gonna have a bigger role.
Hey,
Either
she
at the
just
end.
started in episode 6. She started talking.
Yeah. Oh, just wait. Just you wait. So we were joking about some of the earlier stuff. We'll have to talk about that offline. We'll talk about it because that's hilarious. Um I watch Landman and I love it because it's like reminded me of the time when I was living out there because it was just like all you did was work or you fucking partied. And that was all you did. And the shit's
Yeah.
wild. Um, I didn't stay in a man camp, but I can
Did
imagine
I
it's
was gonna say, were you in a
fucking
man
nightmare.
camp? And in the man camp, did you start talking to a guy you worked with wife after he got blown up by
Right.
hitting hitting a
Hitting a fucking metal pipe wrench.
hitting a pipe wrench with a fucking metal hammer? Um,
Oh, dude.
and
Yeah.
then and then when they threatened to kill you, you're just like double down and started going mowing
Yeah.
her lawn.
I split those tens. I'm like, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing.
Uh,
And the way I'm gonna get in there is by mowing her grass.
hey, you never know. You never mow another guy's lawn.
Kingpin, baby.
That was a
Oh, dude. Yeah, it's hilarious with Ellie Lauder being just the crazy ex, now potentially new wife, and his daughter is just as wild as she is. And they're like going to that. What have you? Are you to the retirement home part yet?
no,
Oh God. Okay. All right. You'll get there.
no. I
Anyways.
just the last episode is she goes to her Cooper's in the hospital, and she goes to her ex-husband's, and the lawyers greet her, and she gets her Bentley, and they're driving back, and then Billy Bob Thornton gets some West Texas justice
Hell yeah.
on
Just whoop
the
ass.
guys that put Cooper in the hospital. Oh, and then yeah, Demi Moore talks when they go to Fort Worth, and then John Hamm's daughter like lives at home and goes to TCU, and apparently like
Just lets her party. However, like, oh, if they get hammered, they just call my driver. Like, oh, to be rich.
yeah. But no, um, what was? But yeah, I felt a little better that I found out that um, um, Tommy Norris's daughter is really 27 in real life. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's by the book. We're good. Yeah.
yeah,
It's Millie Alcock all over again from uh,
yeah,
uh, Game of Thrones prequel. Yeah.
yeah. I was starting to feel a little bad, like seeing her walk around. Um,
Oh, it's all she wears. Yeah. And so you haven't got to the part where she's like hooked, like hanging out with the new like football star from like Odessa Permian. So you're not there yet, which is going to be fantastic.
no,
Yeah.
uh, well, she had to
Yeah.
miss the patch party because her brother almost got beaten to death. So I
Yeah.
imagine that. Um, Yeah, more to come probably on 7 and 8 then
I
if you're on 9.
I can't wait for your reaction. If you love the quote from the first episode, you're gonna love like it's exactly the same. It's
I
so great.
think I heard, I don't know if a quote, I can't remember what it was, but a clip of something that maybe when they're in the nursing home or whatever.
Oh no.
No, okay.
Yeah, it's not that. Oh no,
But
it's him and his daughter like talking in the truck. It's
oh yeah,
exactly
it's
like the first
more.
quote. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Oh God.
I gotta lock this guy down, so I let him
Yeah, dude.
something stupid like that.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be great. You'll know it when you see it. It's like I can't define it, but when you know it, when you
When
see
you
it, you
know, you
know it.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Landman is gonna win some. It's gonna win some Emmys. I can't wait to see that because it's gonna be hilarious.
Speaking of Emmys, did
Yeah,
you watch Golden Globes or anything?
only bits and pieces. Jackie was watching it. I was watching the Lions, um,
Oh,
uh,
li-
Vikings game.
yeah, with Dak Shepard was watching it too from the Golden Globes.
Was he really? I saw him on there
Yeah,
when his wife got nominated or got
yeah.
shown on screen. He was like, I was like, oh, I bet he's watching. Yeah, because he's a
Yeah,
big
no,
Lions
no,
fan. He's from Detroit. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Him and Eminem and Kid Rock.
yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. No, we actually watched all of it. I
nice.
don't know why. Oh, well, I had it on Paramount Plus all day. Like we were coming and going, and had the Texans game and Titans, and then
Yeah,
the Broncos game was on after that, and it just went right into the Golden Globes. So we ended up watching most of it, and um, didn't really learn anything new on the TV front.
no, I
Just
mean,
that there's a bunch of movies that I never heard of.
yeah,
Um,
movies. Yeah, kind of popped up because like Kieran Culkin won for a movie he did,
yeah, with Jesse Eisenberg.
and I had no idea it was even out. Yeah,
In some Amelia Perez or something about a cartel deal or true story about a cartel leader that transitioned to a woman.
hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah,
What
that was like a big award winner.
was it? Whitey Bulger?
Bulge her. Um,
Exactly.
and then another big winner like for score was like some tennis movie with Zendaya.
Oh,
Uh,
Challengers. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, like I've never heard of any of these movies that were like winning shit. No, the Challenger soundtrack was cool with Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, and Atticus Ross. They
yeah.
do a bunch of soundtracks, but um,
It's a
Nikki
soft
Glaser
year
was
for
funny.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah. The only thing, The Brutalist won a bunch of
yeah,
awards, which is A24
yeah.
flick with Adam Brody.
Oh, they're
And
yeah.
then,
A24's crushing movies over the last 3 years. Yeah,
but I think the big winners on the TV front were Shogun.
yeah.
Um, I know Shogun won, I think, Best Series, and then um, it was either Best Actor or Best Supporting Actress. Um, um, like they won two of the acting awards, male and female. And
And the awards I watched, I was like, oh, they're gonna win, and like they won. It was Jean Smart for Hacks. I was like, oh yeah,
Hacks
she's
won
gonna
a
win.
bunch. Yeah.
And then the other one was the chick from Baby Reindeer.
Oh, did she win something?
Yeah, she won for like best lead in a short series or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was funny because she was like making her way upstage and like her dress was like falling and she was like, "Oh, almost showed you my Golden Globes right there." Hilarious. But
Nice.
yeah, I heard Nikki Glaser did good as host. Yeah,
Yeah, she did really, really well. Um, so it was nice. And then there like Demi Moore was there, and then they did this whole skit with her and another lady, and I guess it was basically her movie The Substance. Like she won an
uh,
award
yeah.
for this movie The Substance, and like they each of them get activated on different week. I don't know, but there was a lot of stuff I never heard of, which I think shows kind of either. Well, I think when we do our year in review and
Yeah.
our year rankings, still watched a lot of TV, but I don't think. I mean, the only new movie I saw this year was Wicked.
Oh, I didn't
So,
see that yet. No, how was that?
and I've seen the musical like twice, so
Ah,
it was good. I think. I mean, depending on if you like that kind of stuff, but um, it's 2 hours and 41 minutes, and that's just Act One. Um,
that's right. I heard it was Act One. Yeah.
so, I mean, it's very true to the musical, um, but you get to see, movies, you get to see more of the extended universe than just, the set
Yeah.
on stage. But
Yeah.
so I think Wicked won. There was a lot of Wicked that was up for an award. Squid Game, they were up for a few awards for season two, which just came out on the 26th. So I don't know how
I don't
it
know how
come,
that works. Yeah. Uh,
but
yeah. You saw Wicked. I don't know. Talking to movies. I watched Carry On. which was on Netflix with
Yeah.
um, I don't know, I can't remember his name in real life, but he's Eggsy from The Kingsman, and Jason Bateman who plays a bad guy. It's like modern Die Hard take. It was pretty
Uh,
good. I enjoyed it. It was surprisingly better than I thought it was going to be. For Bateman to be in it, he carried it.
yeah. I mean, he's pretty much, it's funny, like, because I like am kind of my nighttime TV right now. I'm rewatching Arrested Development.
Oh
And
yeah,
then last night in the hotel, um, a movie with Jason Bateman and Dax Shepard's wife and Vince Vaughn and Malin Ackerman and John Favreau, uh, where they go to island where they couples retreat or something, I
couples
think it's
retreat.
called.
Yeah,
And let's think about like man, he Jason Bateman's come like a long way to get to Ozark,
yeah,
and like what's he doing now?
yeah,
So
yeah. Couples
I
retreat
mean, he's
is an
always been good,
odd one for him. I don't know. I think he did that for a favor for John Favreau. I don't know, but that was an odd one for him to pick. Yeah,
but he's still, he kind of plays the same.
he's kind of typecasted. Yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, I guess he's kind of the same in all. Ozark, he's just like up a notch because he's also, you
yeah.
don't think of him as like
Let's make it a little darker. Yeah,
on the wrong side of the law.
yeah.
But yeah, a lot going on in the TV world, movie world. Um, we got Severance coming out next week. So
Cannot wait. The
we
17th,
gotta
baby.
we gotta do have you started to rewatch the season one?
Not yet. What are we? We're 10 days out. We're 9 days out. How many episodes were there again? I'm gonna do like an
I think there
episode a
was
day.
I think there was 10.
Okay,
There
maybe
was
I'm
a
gonna do
lot of Severance.
two episodes
I
a
think
day.
Apple does 10 for most of their seasons. Shrinking was I remember I was like, damn, why is Shrinking so long?
For yeah, Severance was 9. Okay, so I got
9,
I got an
okay.
episode a day. Okay, cool. Yeah, I am gonna do a rewatch for sure. Yeah, we got that coming. Squid Game is it's fully been dropped on Netflix. They did that, I think, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. You
The day
finished it,
after Christmas.
or the day after Christmas, Boxing Day, to some. Um,
Yes. I finished it on the plane.
nice. So I'm on I just finished episode 5, and I'll get your take on it because you finished it. I'm enjoying it. It's kind of slow compared to last year, and then maybe it was hyped up like crazy. The first episode was just gangbusters, great with the Russian roulette scene at the end. Um, but just watching episode 5, it kind of drug a little bit, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like 2 episodes left. How is this going to be any flavorful? But I think we were talking offline. This is like part 1 and
Yeah.
season 3 is like part 2, which also comes out this year. So if that's the case, I kind of figured they were doing some character development for this season. Yeah,
Well, I think a lot of people were upset the way it ended because they weren't aware that it's like basically a two-part season.
yeah, yeah,
Um, I thought it was good. I mean, I really enjoyed I think you have to look at it as the whole season of the story. It is
yeah,
a little episode 5 to 6 is interesting because yeah, episode 5 seems to drag out, and then like the first half of 6 could have been like you could have made where they start the game in episode 5 that could have you could have took some stuff out and finished the game. There's a lot um which we don't even know the extent of, and you won't know
yeah.
that they're doing back they're spending a lot of time on that will make sense later. And I think that's where you kind of you'll have to judge
I figured. Yeah,
uh over the course of season 2 and season 3 or season 1A and 1B.
yeah, yeah,
But I think it was just so. season one was just something we've never seen before. And I think when you start to think about, because I was trying to explain to people that hadn't watched it, and even like Blanca tried to watch it, it was too much violence for her. And
Mm,
every time
yeah.
she walked by, if I was watching it, like there'd be
So I
like
just get
millions of people
capped.
getting killed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have to look at the show through the lens of like class system and you know, and that was so what was bonker. I mean, it's a little different in season two because they're voting after every game.
That is
Where in
different.
the first season they had one vote, they voted to go home, they went home, but they offered them a chance to come back, and like 80% of the people came back.
Yep.
So, you know, the typical people that get into debt and gambling and other things like that, they're you're never sad, and it made me think of like,
Oh,
okay, if I win the lottery, right, and I start like, oh, I'll never burn through that. Well, guess what? Most of the lottery winners burn through their money and go bankrupt, or like because once you have the taste, you want more. You always think you can get it back,
yeah.
and that's kind of the beauty of the show is like, you know, especially in the second season where they vote after the game. It's like, oh, okay,
Just
well, all of us
just
can
one
go home
more.
with. Yeah, well, and they're like, oh, well, now my chances are better because there's less people, and just one more and I'll do it. But then at the end, it's like, there's still going to be a lot of people
Yeah.
that will do it. It's in in the first season you found the VIPs and the front man and then the old man, but um, it's the only thing that's kind of interesting to me is that in the first season, player one was you know behind the games, and then in season two, like Jihan doesn't think that there could be anybody playing that's involved.
See,
Now,
I haven't finished it, but I have a theory that he fucking knows. He knows Hans that dude is Hans Gruber because he fucking knows. Like Hans Gruber can smoke a German cigarette and not get phased. That's how I know he's not Bill Clay. He's Hans Gruber. Die Hard people, watch it. I have a feeling that Gian knows, or whatever his name is, knows that that dude is in on it.
well, yeah, let's talk afterwards.
Yeah,
But it's yeah, we'll have to talk more about the episode 6 and 7 when you watch.
oh yeah,
Um, there's a lot more you'll find out over the next two episodes, but it'll still leave you on a cliffhanger,
yeah,
um, which is a perfect setup. So I think society nowadays is quick to react about everything if they're not instantly satisfied.
yeah.
So
Well,
I
it's
think,
this new generation. I mean, you can see it in the show as itself, where like there's like influencers and like crypto and all this stuff. And I'm
the,
watching. I'm like, this is a new generation of writers. Like season one was like, dude, they were murdering people the first night in the game, and like the second like game, like nobody's killing anybody in the middle of the night. I'm like, this is a totally different generation of I don't want to kill somebody. And then
well,
I'm gonna say,
I
I know
wouldn't
it's
get, I would.
controversial. I love DJ Thanos.
Oh,
Hilarious.
Thanos is the best. Um,
Hilarious.
and don't get too comfortable with nobody trying to kill each other during the night. So,
After
I
them
and
sleeping on the bottom of the bunks at the end of this episode, I was like, okay, it's starting to warm up. Yeah.
yeah. So, but then I think what there's like four Korean pop stars in this season. But Thanos, it's an interesting story about Thanos. He was in, I forget his real name, but one of the K-pop bands, and like he was basically like, and there was like he forgot his lyrics and like one of their performances in real life, and I think they talk about that maybe in an episode you haven't seen yet.
No, they
But
just
as
talked about it.
Thanos.
How he
Okay.
like it was like a
And
TV competition and he
yeah,
forgot his
yeah,
lyrics.
that
Yeah.
was a real life thing that happened to him too. And
Wow.
then, but the interesting thing, I don't know if you read about it, but the pop star who plays Thanos, he got busted for weed and was like had to go to jail for like a year and was basically blackballed and no one would hire him. And then Jae Young, the guy who plays Ji-hoon Song,
Yeah.
the main character 456,
Yeah.
he befriended him and he told the director that he would be great for it and like um and they convinced him, but he couldn't get any work. Is like if you
Wow.
go to prison in like South Korea, you're basically like exiled or something, is the
Dude should
way I
come
was reading the backstory.
DJ over here. He'd be crushing it.
Oh yeah, we love him. Like
Yeah.
I mean, this is it just the taking drugs and doing every
Dude.
game. Like
I love how
the
he's just
round
like
one, you're like
yeah. And I love like there's like dialogue going on and he's like he popped a pill and and it's like somebody's like talking next to him, you just see him in the background and he's like this. He's like
well,
DJ and I was just like, "Oh, this is great."
and I was reading a review of the show, and some people were like, I hope everybody's watching in Korean with English subtitles so you can hear Thanos talk in Korean and then say something like, "Hey, bro," like just in English. Like he'll just go from Korean to English. Like the only one on the show that's doing
Yeah.
that. It's amazing.
So great.
But
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
enjoying it. I can't wait to see the finale of three season 2A. Yeah.
And what else do we got on the docket? So
Uh
Silo.
yeah, Silo. I gotta watch. No, I watched this week's, which now we're starting to get. It took a long way to get there, but now we're starting to circle back into the second half of the first book.
Yeah, so just a little preface on um so I am about halfway, well, 200 pages into Wool. Um
Nice,
so I don't think I'm quite halfway, but I got the Kindle Scribe for my birthday.
nice.
So you just take notes and stuff at work instead of having a notebook. It's great. But now I'm also downloading books and I was trying to read Wool in my paperback, but I ended up I'm just doing it on the Kindle and it's nice traveling with it. So I read like a bunch on the plane and stuff, but
Nice.
uh, book is really good.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm trying to get through. I was trying to get through it about the time like this season wrapped up so I can finish kind of at the same time.
I got a feeling it's gonna wrap up just like the book. So you're in for a good read. But yeah, where I think I said a couple weeks ago when we were talking about how like she stays to try to get the pumps going to drain the water and
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. And I was like, I guess they're not doing that. They just took a long way of getting to it. There's a lot more going on, but I'm starting to really really like it now that they're getting back on track because the book is phenomenal.
Yeah. And yeah, this week I think was the best episode in a while. And the
Yeah,
um so episode 9, season 2 of Silo, or no, 8,
eight.
9 is coming out this Friday.
Yeah,
Um but yeah, we got to meet the I don't know, the other survivors or of the other Silo, Silo 19, I
the
think it is. I
others.
forget. Yeah,
Yeah,
the others.
yeah.
Um, one's good with a bow and arrow, dude. And they make Jules like this in the book too. She's tough as shit.
Tough.
Um, the arrow to the chest. One thing I go through different changes in the book, but I like how like Walk in the book is a man and Walk in the show is an old like lady.
It is a little
So
different. They have flipped some stuff. Yeah,
yeah, but
but I do. I also do like that and I think I texted you last week when last week's episode, or maybe it was the end of this week's, we got to see inside Silo 18's vault, whichever one Bernard is in. I can't keep the number straight
Yeah,
of
yeah.
which vault, Silo is which. But we got to see inside the vault, and it's just books and artifacts and like model of the solar system and all that stuff. That I don't think is that deep in the book. Like it's
Yeah.
actually books that he's reading in the book about
Yeah.
the what are they called? The it's not the foundation, but or I guess the legacy. They
The
call it the legacy. Yeah. And so, but in the TV show, it's like an iPad.
yeah. Yeah. You're
Yeah,
like, here you go, Lucas Kyle, who was sent to the mines, but now is my shadow.
yeah,
Take this iPad with this AI thing. Um, you know, we can't go above ground, or people are eating fucking, you know, little bowls of soup and
yeah,
hard biscuits but yeah, it's another show that's about class and society, and
yep.
then the down deep and the upper level, and the down deep in the season turns off the lights and shows how IT still has lights, and uh
It's good
I mean,
power
it's
play.
setting up the what the rebellions, and basically in this episode we learned basically by setting up the structure that they did, I guess maybe with the Pact or Salvador Quinn, Bernard credits him for not having a rebellion for 150 years or whatever the time period is.
Yeah,
Uh,
because there was a compound that they put in the water to make people.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
to make people forget.
yeah.
Uh,
Remember that.
yeah,
Remember that. Yeah,
yeah. How can I? They put that shit in the water.
exactly. Which I do also like that. The sheriff had the shakes, and then he doesn't have the shakes anymore. Could be a side effect of the
Mm,
compound. Think on that.
yeah,
But yeah, I really starting to enjoy the season. I can't wait to see how they're going to close it out. I got a feeling I know it's going to wrap up just like the end of the first book. It's going to be fantastic, and then we'll get to like the next level in that series. It's going to be amazing. So I'm glad you're reading it because the book is it doesn't as far as I've gotten in the books, it doesn't go the books don't go into the
yeah,
lamplighters or firelight whatever the fire keepers or whatever that shit is, but um. Yeah, it's really good. Um, Before we get to the main course, because we're going to talk about shrinking in a minute. I don't know if you have any other side watches. I've been watching You on Netflix with Ben Badgley, and I'm on the latest season 4.
mm,
I think it's season 4. Yeah, and it's bangers, man. It's a great like murder show. Like, dude becomes obsessed and then starts killing people, like to get closer to these chicks. It's such a crazy show, and people were like really starting to like the main character. I think Penn Badgley was like, "Why do you guys like this guy? He's a fucking murderer." Like, it's
yeah,
really funny how like people get hooked. Like people that think like Theon Greyjoy is like a or not Theon, but oh gosh, the guy that turned him into Reek on Game of
yeah,
Thrones. Oh,
yeah,
Bolton. Yeah, Ramsay.
yeah,
Um, yeah, how they really liked him, and it's like, dude, that dude was a sociopath. Yeah,
yeah.
but that that leads me into a question I have for you. Did you have any other shows that you're watching?
Yeah, I mean, there's two other shows I'm watched. I just started The Man on the Inside, which is Michael Schur show with Ted Danson on
Oh yeah, yeah,
Netflix, where and it's I only watched the first two episodes. Basically, Ted Danson's retired, widowed, and finds an ad in Craigslist to basically become like a spy for like to uncover some theft in a nursing home. So, um,
I like that premise.
not very far into it yet, but it's got a couple people from The Good Place, which was another Michael Schur show with Ted Danson. Um, and it was funny. It was very, I mean, it's not super deep or blow your socks off, but it's a very Michael Schur a show. And then I'm in episode 4 of Black Doves with Keira
Mm,
Knightley on Netflix.
yeah.
Marcos was talking about it as well. I started it a while back. I'm just there's so much going on. I'm gonna try to burn through it, but it was really good so far. It's like MI5 kind of British crime secret drama type show.
Jackie
Um,
started it and she really liked it as well. I need to ask her how far she got on it. But yeah, Jackie
yeah,
really liked it. Yeah.
it's just so hard. Like, and then you know, with there's a lot of so it feels like a lot of times during this year we couldn't find anything on that we were really talking about much.
Yeah.
And now it seems like there's so much out there that I'm watching,
Yeah.
or like, I mean, thankfully finished Squid Game, Shrinking, Silo's almost over.
Yeah, we've offloaded
Um,
some good hits. And it's like, okay, I
yeah.
gotta yeah, yeah. Yeah, it
Well,
seems
it's
like
gonna
there's a
be,
lot right now. Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. I think our next episode we'll do um our top shows of 2024.
Yep.
Um, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what is, what from the end of the year made it on. Like, I mean, there's going to be some shows that aren't eligible for us, like
Yeah.
Landman, and
Squid
Silo,
Game.
which are still going. Squid
Yeah.
Game is available because
I guess we could throw that in there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
it was all released on the 26th. So,
That's before the
um,
deadline. Yeah.
yeah, so it just has to be complete before the end of the year.
Yep.
Um, even though we just finished watching it, I just finished it in January, but
Yeah.
um,
It'll be
and
interesting to see
yeah,
what makes it from the first half of the year to this full year. I'll have to go back
yeah,
and look at my list for the first half because there might be some bumps.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, my top probably two, three shows are going to still remain in, but more to come on that. So I don't want to give too
Yeah.
much away, but
I think I got something
um,
sneaking into the top three that wasn't there before. Yeah.
what
So
you hadn't finished, you never watched Shogun fully, did you?
no, not yet. No.
Yeah.
I've got a
So
week to power through.
yeah, you better get on that puppy because that's that won a bunch of awards.
Yeah.
And but so like Blanca tried to start watching it last night, and then I told her I was one episode ahead of her on Landman, so she switched over. But also she was like, "You really have to pay attention," and she
Yeah.
was texting and doing stuff. And yeah, it's just like it's like Squid Game too, especially because Shogun's mostly in another language, and you know you've got to look up at the screen.
Yeah. You got to
So
battle between like looking down and looking like, oh, what is he saying? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so um, but yeah, and then we got we mentioned Severance coming in January, and then there's another show coming in February that's popular that we watch, but I can't remember it right now. So um,
White Lotus.
yes, White Lotus.
Yes.
So couple good ones coming up.
And then I'll have to go back and look. There's something else coming out in April. There's some other shows coming out. There's one called Paradise, which is about like the president gets killed and his like bodyguard gets investigated. And then John Hamm has a new one coming out called Your Friends and Neighbors, where he is like he lost his like brokerage firm or whatever in the market, so he just starts like robbing his rich neighbors and he like robs one house too many and sees shit that he shouldn't. And then I think maybe it's Andor. Season 2 is coming out. I think that's in April.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
And
um,
there's also something coming out with Seth Rogen on Apple TV. Um, and it is called The Studio
yeah,
in March, which he gets a job as the head of the studio. Um, yeah, so like yeah, that comes out in March, and Your Friends and Neighbors April 11th on Apple TV. Um, so there's a couple things coming out.
yep,
So it'll be a good start to the year.
yep. And then the last thing I just started, and I wanted to ask you this question because it's on a platform I don't normally watch or a studio that I don't normally watch. I started watching The Agency. It's on Showtime,
Mm,
and I have Paramount plus Showtime, the package, whatever. But
yeah,
um, it's got Michael Fassbender. It's got Bernard from Westworld in it.
yeah.
It's got some sprinkles of other people. Oh, Richard Gere is in it. It's about a guy who gets pulled out of like a deep cover and he's brought back to London to work, to the as part of the CIA. So
Hmm.
it's the U.S. spy agency, but in London, and it's about the effects of like being a deep cover spy on like a person who forms all these connections. Anyway, long story short, it's on Showtime. I seem to have a hard time getting into shows on Showtime. I don't know if it's the quality of the writing or the style of cinematography. I have a really hard time getting into Showtime shows. Like I haven't started Dexter, so that's an outlier because I've heard Dexter is phenomenal
Yeah.
from a couple of people. But like Homeland and Billions, I tried watching Billions and I just could not get into it. I don't know what it is. Do you watch stuff on Showtime?
So I think you hit the nail on the head, and Billions is going to be my example. I think Showtime's always been kind of like the almost seems like knockoff HBO, like as far as quality.
Yeah.
Um, I think, like, I honestly think like FX and Apple TV and others have blown by Showtime. Um, so I think it's dropped down even more, but like, the example of Billions. So I think it was after the third season of Succession, or maybe even the last. Um, I was looking for something similar to watch, and watched like 3 episodes of Billions, and was like, I, it didn't do it for me,
It's not the
you
same.
know. And it felt like a low rent
Yeah.
Succession,
Yeah.
and maybe that was just bias, and I shouldn't have. But I couldn't get into it either, and honestly, that's what's kind of kept me from watching some shows like Yellow Jackets, which is critically acclaimed and seemed like it'd be right up my alley. So I think I'm gonna have to give some of the things a try, but it's just, and like you mentioned, like I mean, I like Dexter, the original Dexter, and then um Shameless. Like I
Yeah.
watched those two shows on Showtime, so there was an error um, where Showtime was good. And I think maybe, to be honest, I think maybe whenever HBO was really good, like Showtime was good. And then now that HBO's kind of dropped off and Showtime's kind of dropped off, and you see
They
like,
pulled back. Yeah.
yeah. So
I
I
could
don't
see
know.
that. Maybe, they play to their competition, like
Yeah.
Oklahoma football, usually does. Oh, when it's a good team, we'll play good, but when it's a lower team, we'll play low. Um, because yeah, I'm with you. Like when, you know, I started watching Billions and I don't think I made it past the second episode, and it felt like I was watching an off-Broadway Succession. I was just like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like Axelrod is like he's cool. Like everybody wants to like. I can't relate to that guy at all because he's like crazy intelligent. He's got billions of dollars. Like I can relate to uh, Kendall on Succession all day for wanting to achieve those things, but
Hmm.
like then you've got like Paul Giamatti, who I love, is playing like the district attorney, but his wife is also like the therapist at Axelrod at his like
Yeah,
firm, and it's like this huge conflict of interest type shit. And then it was weird. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know if it's a Showtime thing,
yeah,
but I'm glad I asked because I had a hard time getting into Showtime shows, and I want to like The Agency. I like Michael Fassbender. I think he's a great actor. I think he's underutilized. I think he got swept up in too much X-Men. Um, and I like Bernard from Westworld,
yeah,
but the
yeah,
show lacks. I don't know if it's clarity or there's no hook. I'm just like are you gonna set the line or am I just gonna take the bait and run? I don't know. So it's an interesting take on Showtime. So
yeah, yeah.
um
No, I think it's a good segue into our last
yeah,
topic, but I don't, in regards to time, I don't think we'll go too deep in it
no,
because
no,
don't want to keep everybody on too long. But
yeah,
um, shrinking. So I think yeah,
phenomenal.
this is definitely gonna, you know, I don't think I had it in my top 10 last year or
Nope,
season one.
nope.
Um, but it's definitely going to be in there this year. And sometimes it's maybe not normally a show that you would put in there, but this season was perfect. And I'm going to say this. Um, I think it's on par with Ted Lasso season one and better than all the other Ted Lasso seasons. Um, and I think part of it is Roy Kent coming
Totally
in
agree.
that whole storyline. Um, but it's such an interesting show because it's kind of like, and just gonna relate it in a different context, but like Somebody Somewhere, which is one of my favorite shows, um, that just ended after 3 seasons. All like these two shows and are about dealing with grief and interpersonal relationships and finding kind of your tribe of people. And when shows like that are done well, they hit home, I think, with the viewer and like at least for me, because they're what a lot of times we're too afraid of to do in real life, to deal with problems, to talk to
Yeah,
people about it, to develop these close relationships, or in this case of the season, to forgive.
yeah.
And they go through this journey of forgiveness, or at least partially forgiveness, I think, at the end for Jason Segel's character. I
Hmm.
think it's the start of it. Um, where you just don't know in real life if we could do that, if like that was me, if I could do that, you know, but it's more of like, of not wanting to process
Yeah,
that emotionally. So I just think that it's like, it hits so well because it's like brings out the best in how you would want to handle, even when it's at its worst, it's still better than probably a lot of how most people would handle it in real
for
life.
sure.
But
Yeah.
it's just like
If this
there's
were real
always a
life,
joke.
Jason Segel would still be doing Molly and banging prostitutes. If
Yeah.
this was real life, yeah,
And, and there's always like on the rewatchables, and they like when they talk about stuff and they talk about Raj or Roger Ebert's like
yeah,
reviews of movies, and they're like, Raj loves story. And I think that's why we watch. I think sometimes you watch for action and comedy and like the popcorn kind of thing, but at the heart of everything is story. And I think this just, and I think, and sorry, I'll let you cook on this in a
No,
second. Bill Lawrence is like the master at this.
amazing.
You think of Scrubs and Ted Lasso and now Shrinking. I don't know if there's anybody better at story, especially in like the kind of length of his shows
Yes.
and how you can make comedy out of it as well.
Yeah. Comedy out of grief, dark
Yeah.
comedy. Bill Lawrence, Brett Goldstein, throw in Jason Sudeikis, now Jason Segel, I'm sure to some degree, but Ted Lasso in this show, I think, are a show about struggling with and dealing with change, but also about hope, right? I mean, Ted Lasso, fish out of water, just
Yeah.
blind, you know, inspiration, aspiration. It's going to be great. We're going to do great, right? And then like
The
shrinking, where
Eternal Optimist.
yeah, the exact opposite of shrinking, where it's like everything's fucked and we have to do something radical to change that, right? But
Hmm.
nobody likes change. And I think I agree. This season, I think they finished Ted Lasso, which just leave it at season three. There's no reason to try to pick up and change and suck money out of it, right? I think that's what Bill Lawrence and these guys have figured out is it takes
Hmm.
about 3 seasons to tell a story arc. And that's what they're going to do
Yeah.
with shrinking.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're going to end it with season three. They should. They should just close it out.
Hmm.
But you had Brett Goldstein, who's just amazing at doing these unique characters to some degree, who deal with emotional change. And then you take his beard away, and you just make him look more, you know, vulnerable.
Yeah.
And just I do by the end of the season, I'm sitting there and you got everybody saying what they're thankful for Thanksgiving. It's like a Thanksgiving movie. It's just everybody saying what they're thankful for. Harrison Ford's going on a monologue that's probably going to win him an Emmy
Hmm.
for guest appearance in a series or whatever. Um, and then you got Brett Goldstein, who's like thinking about committing suicide. I'm sitting there crying my eyes out and in my head because I'm not that open. I'm like, dude, don't jump, man, don't jump. And
Yeah.
then like something happens. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but um, the fact that they finished Ted Lasso season three, because we talked about the first season of the show last year or the year before, whenever it was, and how it was okay, not great. They have now taken their full focus from Ted Lasso, I think, and put it into this show.
Hmm.
This is a completely different series in season two between like his friend Brian, who's a lawyer, who like gives the same monologue like 6 times about when he's running into Brett Goldstein outside of his house, and he's like, "Get
Yeah.
the fuck away from this family,
Yeah.
get out of here," and he's like, "Oh, sorry," like that. Like Jackie and I
Yeah.
quote that all the time and how hilarious that is, and he does
That
it like 6 times.
Yeah, that was I mean, that's the beauty of that. Like, in each time you just start laughing because like
Yeah,
this is he just wants to tell this story and he's going to tell it like the exact same way
yeah,
and with that excitement every time.
yeah. And then I think they put a lot of thought even into the music that's in the season. And the veteran, I can't for the life of me remember his name right now, that's been living with Jason Segel, him like getting out of his shell. And I mean, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, dude, that's the dumbest thing ever." Like when she sells her half of the food truck to his dad, who he's
Yeah.
estranged from, and all, and I'm just like, "Oh, this is nobody would ever do that." But it's all about change. But even the music, because the part where Liz is hanging out with her like ex-boyfriend or whatever the hell he is, and they like share that kiss, they start playing a song by the 1975, and it was just like that was a perfect cut. It was amazing. Um,
Hmm.
and I think that's something that they also excelled at in Ted Lasso. So. Um, Hell of a season for Shrinking. I can't wait to see hopefully the final season next year.
Yeah.
But Brett Goldstein should win like an Emmy, or he should at least be nominated because they all crushed it this season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
John C. McGinley, who played Derek, what White Derek, Liz's husband.
Yeah.
Dude, guy was in Married with Children and like never did much after that. He is crushing it in this show.
Yeah. I think it's Ted McGinley
Ted McGinley, that's it.
because John C. McGinley was the doctor in Scrubs.
That's why I keep getting mixed up. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Ted
yeah,
McGinley. That's right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's crushing it in this. Hilarious. Yeah.
Oh, he's perfect. Yeah, I mean, is there a weak link character? Um, maybe one of Derek and Elizabeth's sons, but even the son, even the son that
Banging Autumn.
yeah,
Summer,
that
not
chick
Autumn. Summer.
Summer is the funniest shit ever. Like she is so good
She
in
gets
that
busted
role.
for fucking stealing Plan B,
Yeah,
and he's just
she
like pays
called.
for it. Yeah, his
Yeah,
maybe the ex-boyfriend, the fact that he like I don't know was around so long, and then like Ted McGinley is like buying his beer and stuff like that. It's like, dude, this guy was trying to like steal your wife. Like, I think I wouldn't be buying his beer, but that's the show, right? It's like it's not about like holding grudges. It's about like enjoying the things of life.
yeah. Well, and I think the interesting part of that is that I think as when you're adults and you are, you know, there's always, and I used to have these arguments with friends like after my divorce and you know, like, oh, my husband can't have any friends that are women because like they're gonna sleep together, and then my wife can't have any friends with guys because all guys want to do is sleep with women. And it's like when you're with somebody for a long time and you spend a lot of time, when someone pays attention to you, it can lead to that thing. And like Liz let herself, like they could have stayed friends and she could have, you know, set boundaries in the beginning is
Yep.
um, and then had all of them hang out, but she got caught up in kind of the excitement of someone, different. And I think that's where I think the show does a really good job of even the best of people can get caught up in that. And,
Yeah.
and like, and why I think like she could have shut it down, I think, because it probably happens a lot more in real life where it may get shut down or it may go all the way. But
Yep.
I think either of those two scenarios, the real life scenarios are just a little different because either they fully go for it and then the husband never finds out, or like he leans in and stops and you know, goes out, or even before it gets to that point, be like, I'm happily married, like we can be friends, like
Yeah.
I have guy friends, but that's all there's
Yeah.
going to be, and then that can change the thing. Because I think like you know, I see it so much where um, in kind of my friend group, there's a lot of people like that are like Blanca's friends with a lot of guys, and historically I've been friends with a lot of girls. Now I've had to change it up a little bit, but um just a little like out of respect. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think if you have like for me, I know what my moral code is. So like,
Right.
and I hope, you hope your partner trusts that because like there's no reason Liz and that guy couldn't have been friends and she could have gone in business with them in the brewery that he owns,
Set up
I
set up
think
dog
like
adoptions at the brewery. I mean, that shit would have been popping.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, that's what kind of paints a bad light is like, oh, he's a single guy and that's all he wants to do is,
Right.
you know, go after a married woman, and then they'll be like, see, look, all the single guys just are gonna,
Yeah.
try to fuck
It's
somebody else's lady.
It's when Harry met Sally. It's the time. It's the world's oldest argument. Can men and women just be friends? And it's a great argument. But oh, I just top to bottom between you know uh, Jason Siegel's daughter, coming to terms with Lewis, and then just their whole friend group, and then you add Wayne's son into
Yeah,
it, who's it from New Girl. Just phenomenal. Really love this show. But yeah, no weak link characters, I guess. Everybody's utilized to the right amount. There's no Chekhov's gun still hanging on the wall.
yeah, yeah. No, it's such a great. Well, I mean, there's no notes. It's perfect. It's a perfect season of TV. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yep.
And to put it, Blanca didn't watch the first season.
Mm,
Saw me, came in while I was watching like episode two or three, and then she watched all the remaining without having any knowledge of the show and loved it. So
nice.
it's it, you can
You can
do
watch
that.
that season alone and not even know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But no,
Any
great
other
show, man.
thoughts on Shrinking?
No, it's gonna win some Emmys. I mean, it's this season's definitely gonna win some. They're gonna go all out now that Ted Lasso's done. They're gonna throw their weight behind it. Um, but yeah, man, no, Shrinking's great. I don't know if you got anything else. I know we talked out to wazoo about the
No,
shows we've been
this
watching.
is probably one of our longest episodes in a while.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some editing, but that's all right. It's gonna be
Yeah,
great. I think we hit a lot of highlights and we had some good topics. So yeah, appreciate everybody for kicking it with us this week. Tune in next time. We'll have our top shows of 2024. Um, and then we'll be talking probably the end of Landman and definitely the Squid Game. And then if we can sneak in some Shogun, if I can get that in this week and weekend, then we'll get a show going next week while I'm in Denver. So,
Severance.
what'd you say?
You got Severance. You got Severance as
Oh,
well.
and
So
Severance. That's right. Yeah. So
I think
tune in
it's
for that,
Friday the
folks.
17th. Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, next week, end of the year.
Yep.
And then after that,
We'll
following
roll right into
weeks, yeah, Severance
Severance
time.
recap and the start of the new season. Can't wait. So, yeah. Thanks for kicking it with us. And as cousin likes to say.
Mahalo.